Welcome to Company Heroes 3, the brand new alpha. The game has just been released in alpha and we are going to be checking out the American Army, and we're going to be also checking out their veterancy abilities. We've got them up to level 3, so we'll check them all out for you and hopefully enjoy it and learn something. So let's see what's going on. First things first then, we're going to be doing the headquarters. And in the headquarters we have the Scout Squad, Recon Infantry, effective at long range. Okay, that's the Scout Squad. Then we'll move on to the Engineer Squad, which is support infantry, construction and repair, and effective at close range. And then you have Captain Retinue, who's good at supporting infantry. He enhances nearby units and is effective at all ranges. Also here you can build your construction medical station, so it heals all nearby infantry squads and weapon teams. You can use the rally point, and then you can build barracks, construction barracks, yeah, rifle squads and such. Then you can do weapon support center, make heavy machine guns. Then you've got your construct MotorPool, got greyhounds, anti-tank guns and stuff, and then you've got your construct tank depots for your Shermans, Hellcats and that. So for the first squad we have the Recon Infantry Squad, Scout Squad. These guys, they've got the rifle smoke. Make some cover for yourself if you're getting suppressed. Very useful. And we also have the Recon Flare that will uncover areas of the map view that are covered by the fog of war. Super useful when you want to do some bombing with your Sherman Calliope and such. And then we have the Veterancy unlocks, and for the first one here we have Track Target. Tracks an enemy target in the fog of war for a duration, which will be helpful. Or you can pick Passive Healing. Scouts regenerate health while out of combat. So they both sound pretty useful. And on this occasion I think we'd pick Passive Healing. So okay, now we now have an ability here then. We'll heal them while they're out of combat, which is awesome. Okay, so on to the next unit. Okay, for the next unit we've got the Engineer Squad. Support infantry armed with the M3 submachine guns. They can do repairs, structures, and build defences, which will be useful. Okay, can be upgraded with the M2 flamethrower. Really great at taking out those pesky infantry and buildings. Okay, so that's useful. Also, you can upgrade them with the hazard removal package. Great for wire cutters, mine sweeping. Very important because mines win games. Blowing stuff up with mines. So if your opponent's using a lot of mines, get a minesweeper, definitely. Okay, so what else can they do? We can build field defences. Okay, you've got your sandbag wall for heavy cover, very useful. Get behind cover and use it, and then you can put barbed wire fencing on the other side of it to stop the enemy using it. Then you can also build a fighting position, which can then be upgraded into an MG nest. Then you've got your tank traps to block light and medium tanks vehicle movement. Handy if you want to cut stuff off there. And then you have the M5 mine, anti-infantry air effect mine. Okay, so that'll deal damage in an area, that's useful. Then we have the repair. So if you've got a tank that's damaged, you can just crack on repairing it. And then you have the throw satchel charge, which has a 5-second delay timer, and it will do a big damage to infantry and buildings and whatever's there. Very useful. And for the last things, we have the veterancy unlocks, which is light it up. The flamethrower engineer fires a long burst of fire at the target, causing the area to catch fire. Could be very useful, that denies some area for the other infantry trying to attack you. And then we have superior fieldcraft. Okay, experienced engineers are more skilled at their trade, making them more effective. 100% plus construction speed and 50% plus repair speed, and 10 mine detection ratio. That radius, that's pretty good. Okay, so those both sound amazing. You're probably going to want one of each of these. So right now I'd probably go with the light it up with the extra long bursts on the flamethrower that is currently equipped on the unit. So let's check that out. Let's burn it up right now. Oh yeah, that's nice. That is very nice. And we'll use as pesky scout squad to stand on it a minute and just see what happens. Okay, they stood right in the middle of it.
We got somewhere to be.
And nothing seems to be happening. Okay, maybe it's broken, but it does look cool. Right, there we go. Okay, here is what happens when you throw the satchel charge. the engineers.
I got a quiet step.
5-second timer.
Can't hear me coming.
Then devastation.
More alert is all.
Very nice. Okay, over here we have examples of the barbed wire along here. Where we have the tank traps. And just up here we have the sandbags. Okay, and here's your fighting position. And you can convert it into an MG nest, which would be right here to click.
Get it done, boys.
Okay, and the last unit in the headquarters is Captain Retinue. This support infantry with their M1 Grand rifles can be upgraded, so they have Thompson submachine guns, which are good against infantry and close range. So those are very nice and good. And then you can also go with the M191 medium machine gun, which is good for medium and long range if you want to be hiding behind cover and fighting people. Okay, so he's got a couple of abilities. One's a passive. He's got a leadership ability, doubles the experience rate of nearby units, so he's handy to have around. Buff up everyone's experience and be making the units a lot better. And then also you have the follow ability, so you can then just click follow on some dudes, and then he'll follow around in theory if it's not broken. Which doesn't seem to be doing. Let's try that again. So that's useful when it works. It will be useful. It doesn't want to work right now. Okay. So then what else we got? We also have the assault grenades, which is cool. Let's throw them just there. These are very good for dealing with infantry. But if someone's blobbing, that'll be handy. Probably better for the Sherman Calliope, but that'll be handy in a pinch. Okay. And then we also have his veterancy abilities. He's got a heroic charge, which will decrease received accuracy and suppression of the nearby infantry. That's very nice. So that could come in handy if you're trying to rush an MG. And okay, and then he can also pick mark target. Okay, increases the enemy target's received accuracy and damage penetration for a short time. Pretty cool. So I'd probably go with the heroic charge. I can do really cool charging about everywhere. That sounds super useful.
Come on. We ain't
So
got
let's
all
use
day.
it now. Yeah, everyone about him's getting the ability. Look, it's got quite a big radius too.
On your feet. Let's go.
Very nice. There's a shot.
Keep that formation tight.
That's nice. The cool ability he's got there. Makes them run faster.
Double time, soldiers.
Okay, next we're going to be moving on to the barracks. This is going to allow you to construct the rifleman squad, the basics standard unit of your infantry. I'm going to be using them a lot. They're good with their grand rifles. You'll be fighting everyone with grenades, sticky bombs. They're sticking on tanks and whatnot. And you can upgrade to Browning automatic rifles, effective against all infantry. And then you have your upgrades here for the grenade package. So anti-infantry, anti-vehicle, anti-garrison, very useful. Nice grenades there. And also you can give them more firepower with the bar light machine gun package, which is effective at close to medium range. You get a couple of them on your squads and your guys will be doing a lot more firepower, which is handy. Okay. So then we also have Willie's MB Jeep. It's the ultralight recon vehicle. It's got a 30 cal machine gun on it. It's pretty nice. Go out there and scout about. Removes the fog of war around its radius. Very handy. Then you'll also have the mortar team for doing some passive indirect fire. Get them in range or use them directly to fire. Pick who you want to shoot at. So with its 81mm mortar, that'll be handy to get you some extra damage on the enemy. Okay, now we have the rifle squad. Here they are. They have the Browning automatic rifle upgrade. We've just upgraded them at the barracks so they can be done and have one of those, so they have extra firepower. They also have the ability to breach a building. You click this, click on the building, and then they'll go up to it and kick the doors in and yeet grenades in there, and it's also really good. If you want to get them people out of the buildings, you can't go to flamethrower or whatever. Engineer squad, they'll be handy. And you've got the actual grenade, you can just super throw that. Cause some damage. If they don't move, they are going to feel the pain of that grenade. Then we also have the sticky bomb ability. Very useful for sticking on like scout cars if you ain't got an AT gun yet or any other scout cars yourself. Very handy. Then we have some veterancy abilities. We've got fire superiority. Increases the rate of fighting, ignores cover. So that's cool. Increases the overall damage by 15% and ignores heavy and light cover. That's pretty nice actually. Well, that's a nice veterancy one. Or you can do cover to cover. So the rifleman will move to the target cover position, increase their speed and become 50% harder to hit. So if you want to rush positions, that's pretty handy. But I'm leaning more towards the increased damage. That sounds very nice. And you can then click that and then they'll start doing much more damage. That 50% should sway the battlefield a bit of luck. That's nice. Now we have Willie's MB Jeep with the 30 cal light recon vehicle. Now this will take a lot of damage from small arms fire. So you don't want to be taking this against things that are very strong. You want to be very careful with this because it does have some nice buffs. So move it around, support your guys in the early game, and then you have abilities that you can unlock. It can be a command jeep, and this will improve its reconnaissance abilities and boost nearby infantry combat performance. So that could come in very handy indeed. Okay, other abilities: advanced reconnaissance. I can't talk. Talking hard. Advanced reconnaissance. When stationary in the jeep, can passively detect enemies' movement in the fog or war. So that could be quite handy. It also has a self-repair ability, very nice, but it also has to be out of combat. So pull it back, just click that, costs you 15 munis and it's repaired up, very handy. You can also tell the vehicles in the game to not fire, so that's nice. Constantly firing when you don't want it to, so that's the useful thing there then. Okay, then you've got the Veterancy of the captured territory, right, that could be very nice. You've got to really annoy the other team. Yeeting your jeep around, constantly capping territory with it. Or you can go with the resupply platform. Okay, and that gives it the ability to drop weapons and supplies, and you can drop medical supplies. So I'd probably pick that because that sounds like really nice. Let's click that and see what that does. Okay, now you guys can grab that,
Let's roll, man.
heal up.
Here's that kid.
Sounds very handy indeed. You can also drop an MG gun. That's nice. Yeah, that's cool. And then you can also drop yourself a mortar, but that's a cooldown now. So yeah, and that's handy. So if you're under fire, don't forget you can reverse out. Keep your front arrow forward. Very handy. Okay, for the next unit, we've got the mortar team with their 81mm mortar. Okay, this is good for indirect fire. We've got the high explosive barrage, so you can pick where you want them to shoot yourself. And you can also use a smoke barrage if you want to like charge an MG. So if you want to charge an MG over here, we'll just quickly use the smoke. And you can see how that is. And then when the smoke lands, MG's concerned there was an MG here, you can just start running at it. Guys run through, throw a grenade at them or whatever, use your special abilities, and then you're in. Get behind it and start killing it. Okay?
Alright, let's roll like
And then also, you've got your veteran abilities, which is airburst barrage. This is very a la the British of company heroes of old. So that sounds very nice. Increases rate of fire and increases area of effect. Fires round that burst in the air. This sounds amazing, and I'll probably pick this. And then we've got the delayed fuse HE barrage. Barrage even, talking out again. Fires a high explosive round and detonates shortly after impact. Well, kind of hit something and then move away and be annoying. So I'd probably go with the airburst barrage. This sounds very nice. I'm going to do it right there. Now let's check this out. I'm hoping it's going to be amazing. It sounds amazing, but is it amazing? The movie's guys in. Oh, yes. It doesn't have a massive area effect, but that did seem very nice. Seems to be hitting my guy a little bit. See him try again. Might fire that off. That seems nice. Could be very handy. Okay, now we have the weapon support center, and in this one you can buy the heavy machine gun, good for suppressing people. You can get a bazooka squad, great for fighting early infantry. I should say early armor or light armor. So you'll be fighting like these personal carriers, scout cars, whatever. We've got the nice M9 bazooka, should be very handy. Then you can buy yourself a sniper. Now they'll only be camouflaged if they're in cover, so definitely want to keep them in cover and be careful with them, okay? Then you can get yourself your M3 armoured personnel carrier for light support, transport, and you can even turn it into like a M45 quad mount, anti-AA, anti-infantry, everything. Sounds pretty good, but they ain't megally armoured, so you need to be careful with it still, okay? Okay, so the first unit here is the heavy machine gun team with the 30 cal machine gun. Really nice, good for suppressing those pesky infantry trying to flank you. Okay, so we have the reload ability on here, so that's nice. If they've been fighting already, they only went through half a clip, you can reload manually. This is new to the Company Heroes 3. You can also set them to fire at will or when you want them to. So that's nice. So good for suppressing infantry, like I said. But you might want to move them around so they don't get flanked. Okay, or have additional ones covering the flanks. Right, so the button vehicle is the first veterancy ability. That sounds nice. Orders the heavy machine gun team to focus fire rounds on the target vehicle. It's slowing it down. That sounds very good, and also reduces its line of sight. So then you can run in with some riflemen, throw a sticky bomb on it, clip it, maybe finish it off with the AT gun using combined arms. So it sounds very useful to that button ability. Also, we have cover training. You get minus 25% reduced received accuracy in open cover. That's cool. And then minus 50% reduction in light cover. That sounds pretty nice. But I probably want the buttoning ability though. That sounds amazing. So out of the two, I'd probably definitely go with the button. And then if some vehicle comes too close, I'm going to click that and I'm going to slow it down and move other units in to finish him off. Sounds very handy. Okay, next up we have the sniper. Very useful character in this game. He can stealth, but while he's out of cover, he ain't going to be stealth and is very vulnerable. So you want to run him into cover, use him in cover. You have them set as fire at will, or if you want to be careful with them, you want to set them to hold fire so you can counter snipe people if the other player's using a lot of snipers. Or you can just leave him on fire as well. Where when he comes out of cover or takes a shot, he'll have a cooldown on his cover and won't come straight back on. So if you move them along the wall in the cover, they stay covered. But as soon as they move too far out, that's it. It's coming out of cover. So, very useful character indeed. So, but his veterancy abilities, we have a stealth reconnaissance, which seems very nice. The sniper holsters his weapon and goes prone, allowing him to move in the open while camouflaged, taking away the whole run around in non-camo. So that sounds amazingly useful right there. And your other option is the field medkits. This will give the sniper the ability to heal himself. So they both sound very nice, but I'm thinking being able to crawl around not seen would be useful. So now he's running around normally, very seen. Right, let's use the ability.
Alright, going under.
Okay, now we go. Took a second or two for clicking it. He's very, very slow, but he can move around on this red cover road, negative cover road, and he cannot be seen, which is very nice. So you can get him into a nice position, use your mortar team to bombard him and be wondering why he's so accurate. Sherman Calliope him up, whatever. They'll be very confused. Sounds like a great ability. And then he's running around. So there we go, the sniper. Now we have as M3 armoured personnel carrier. Very useful and versatile vehicle. With this, you can have it transporting your squads around, very handy. And then you'll have a little man sitting in the top on your little 30 cal machine gun. But in this variant that we've got here, we have the quad M45 AA and anti-infantry gun. Very nice upgrade. And also, you can make it a healing vehicle. That seems to be broken right now. But if you want to keep your guys on the move and out on the field, having a healing vehicle will be very useful. So, in its various different forms, this is a very good multi-purpose vehicle and well worth getting. As long as you're not going up against tanks and it's getting blown away in seconds, it can support your infantry very well. So it's a nice one to have. Okay, with the veterancy on the quad, you have the salvage crew ability, which will be very useful. You can get yourself some nice fuel from a blown up vehicle of the enemies or your own. Click that. Oh, well, it might not be your own. We'll have to wait and see until we try it. But it could be very useful indeed. Buy yourself a tank or another vehicle and such. Sounds good. Or you can do the button vehicle. Now, button vehicle will be like what's with the MG. The vehicle will come in range. You'll click it. It'll slow the vehicle down. Reduce its field of view. Very useful. So, that could actually be very useful. Okay, next up, we have the MotorPool. And in this building, you're going to be getting yourself a M8 Greyhound. Good for the early mid-game. With its 37mm M6 gun. Good against infantry and other light armour. Handy little vehicle. Then you've got your anti-tank gun. Very useful. You're going to be wanting these. As soon as people have got any sort of armour on the field, you want an anti-tank gun. It's as simple as that. Get one. Don't mess about. Also, you've got your light tank, the Chaffee. Vehicle Hunter, effective at medium range. It's got a 75mm gun. There we go. Good at attacking the rear armour and at medium range. You don't want to be taking on really heavy armoured tanks with this thing. This is more of a medium, very light tank deal. It's probably a lot stronger than the Greyhound, but armour-wise, but you don't want to be taking on heavy tanks with this thing. So, useful units, there we go. The first unit in the MotorPool is the M8 Greyhound with its M6 gun, 37mm. This is a good little light vehicle. You have the ability to focus fire on off. You've got your tell it to fire at will. You've got the eyes and ears recon ability. So when it's stationary, it'll detect enemy movement in the fog of war. Very nice. Okay, you can equip it with a pintle mounted heavy machine gun. So it's fighting a lot of infantry. Pretty much want to get this. With 50 munis, it's worth it. You want to be fighting those infantry more effectively. So handy little upgrade. So for the Veterancy, you can unlock the radio net, increase the accuracy by 15%, which is pretty nice. So it also emits an aura for friendly vehicles. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And then you've got Seek and Destroy as your other Veterancy unlock. Reduces received damage from handheld anti-vehicle weapons. So your Panzerschreck, Panzerfaust and such by 25%. That's not bad. If you want to keep it alive, that'll be useful. So I'd probably go with the aura though. So if you can keep it along and alive with your army for a decent amount of time, that 15% accuracy aura for your units is going to be amazing. So there you have it, M8 Greyhound. Okay, next up is the anti-tank gun. And on this one, you have the ability to focus on vehicles or just let it shoot at everything. But if you want to surprise a vehicle, you want to keep it on. So then they won't know when they accidentally run infantry and trying to set up an ambush. You can fire at will as well, or hold fire with this one. And you've also got fire an armor piercing round. So if you're up against like extremely heavy armored tanks, you can click this and it'll give you much better armor piercing rounds for a short period of time. And do more damage to those vehicles. And there's more effective against the frontal armor, so very handy. And then you also have your Veterancy abilities that you can unlock. And here we have Focus Sight. It makes the line of sight longer, but it's narrower, and it can't move while it's active. So that seems pretty good. And then you also have Brace, which disables the weapon and reduces the incoming damage. So if it's getting attacked by a lot of things and you want it to stop shooting, maybe it's infantry and getting loads of them coming at you, you can click that, it will take less damage. So both of them sound quite useful indeed. Probably go with the increased range of sight though. Okay, next up we have the Chaffee or Chaffee light tank, depending on how you want to pronounce it, with its 75mm main gun. Okay, got your usual focus fire on and off, hold fire on and off. And this one can also use smoke canisters, which sounds pretty useful. So you can block off incoming fire. Then you've also got the flanking speed, which will increase its speed, acceleration and deceleration, and reduces received accuracy while moving. That's pretty good. So you can outflank those enemy tanks and get them rear shots. Or you can go with the Seek and Destroy Veterancy, which is going to allow the Chaffee to intercept enemy communications and pinpoint accident locations. Revealing them in the fog of war, which sounds very awesome as well. And next up we have the Tank Depot. In your tank depot, you can make yourself the M4A1 Sherman tanks. They're effective at all ranges. It's a medium tank. Very useful. Can go against infantry armour alike. Not the best against really heavy armour, but they are good with their M3 75mm gun and their machine guns on there. You can upgrade them and stuff with the sit on top machine gun guys, which is nice. And you can also go with the M18 Hellcat, your tank destroyer. With its 76mm gun, you want to be taking on the other enemies' heavy tanks here or their tank destroyers and trying to fight them off. Useful. They'll be a little bit less armoured than your Sherman, but you're trying to take out the other enemy tanks. You don't want to flank them or take them from extreme range, ambush them or whatnot. You don't want to be going up head to head because they'd be too squishy. It's not a super tank, unfortunately, but there you go. Then you can also get the bulldozer version of your Sherman M4 with a massive bucket on the front of it. Bigger deal, and you can clear out mines and whatnot with that, which is very handy. Smash walls down, take out obstacles, very nice. to have as an option. Okay, we have the M4A1 Sherman here, your medium tank with the 75mm gun. You can have a mounted pintle machine gun on there if you fight infantry, so you're going to want that to make them more effective at the infantry fighting. You've got the smoke canister, so you can cover a retreat of yourself or cover an enemy's MG so your team can rush in with the infantry. There, good. You've got your usual focus fire on vehicles or fire at everything. Hold fire if you want to set up an ambush. And then you've also got, as the Veterancy unlocks, you've got high explosive rounds, which will make it much more effective against infantry, but have low penetration against other tanks. So if you're fighting tanks, don't pick that. You want to be using this if you're against a lot of infantry. And then the other option is the white phosphorus rounds. Fires a white phosphorus round at the enemy armoured vehicle, temporarily blinding and disarming them. So then you can have your M18 Hellcat here rush in and get some shots off to hopefully kill it, if not seriously wound it. So that makes those both very useful.
Launching fire!
Okay, next up is the M18 Hellcat with its 76mm gun, tank destroyer. Really good at taking on the enemy tanks. You can also give it the pintle mounted heavy machine gun, so it's more effective at fighting infantry if you're fighting a lot of them. You have the flanking speed ability, so if you click that, it'll speed it up a lot. Much faster if it ain't crashing into things. Now look how speedy this boy is. And then you can reverse it back. If it gets into trouble very quickly. Yeah, that's going fast. Oh yeah, that's very nice indeed. Very handy ability. Okay, what else we got? Got your hold fire, fire at will and such. Yeah, and then your veterancy abilities. You're going to be doing long range barrage. Fire a high explosive shell at the target location. So if you want to attack a blob of infantry, that'll be a nice, you can get it on target. Give them a nice surprise. Or you can go with the long range ambush. So you can make your M18 Hellcat invisible. As long as it's stationary, it increases its accuracy, sight and range. So let's have a quick try of that, because that sounds amazing. So, oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. Even makes it look super cool. It's suddenly grown loads of greenery on it. That's nice. Right, so then it'll just ambush any tank that's stupid enough to come into its range. Get a nice bit of damage off on it. So, there you have it. The M18 Hellcat. Okay, next up we have the Bulldozer Sherman. Here we have it here with its 105mm howitzer. So, if you're fighting a lot of infantry here, this would be great. Drop massive howitzer shells on said infantry and cause extreme devastation, like what's happening here. So yes, very nice. It's got its big giant digger on the front of it, which can be raised and lowered if you want to take out some obstacles or like take out some mines. Very nice. You've got your pintle mounted machine gun that you can have on there as well. Make it even better at fighting the infantry. And then you can do the smoke, cover your retreat or cover a position again. There we go. And then we've got Bunker Buster Barrage. Fires a Bunker Buster Barrage at the target, dealing increased damage against encampments. That sounds great. If they're bunkering down and hunkering down, they've got MG nests everywhere and blow them all up. And or you can pick Incendiary Barrage. So, if you can get them to retreat and you can yeet this on their base, if you've managed to get that far up on them, you could burn them all, which would be great. Do extreme damage to the infantry. So both of those sound very good for the veterancy abilities. So now we're going to cover the support centres. You've got an air support centre, which unlocks your air support tech, and then you've got the Mechanised support centre, which unlocks advanced tech for your armour, and then you've got the infantry support. It's going to unlock nice infantry upgrades. So first we'll look at the Mechanised support centre. So you can unlock the smoke for your tanks, so you can cover retreats and advances and such. Then you can also go with the radio recon, which increases the line of sight on your jeeps and greyhounds and Hellcats and such. And they detect enemy movement in the fog of war while stationary, which is nice. You can also improve improvised armour, which will be very nice. Give them an extra bit of protection against those enemy tanks. And you can also go with rearm and refit arms Hellcats with the HPV rounds and greyhounds with mines. So you can use your greyhound to drive around, dropping mines everywhere, driving at the base, drop some mines, really annoy them. So that sounds very good. Next up, we've got the Casualty Support Centre, and in here we've got the upgrades to the Advanced Logistics, which is going to decrease your infantry's upkeep by 50%. So we've got a lot of infantry, very handy to have. You can also research demolitions packages. So your engineers can make demolition charges and
I don't care what your
M6
grandpa
heavy
used to
anti-tank
say.
mines
Ain't
when they're out and
nothing
about,
but
which will be very
wisdom,
nice
pal.
for you. Make some nice surprises for the enemy. Then you've also got infantry reserves, which reduces the infantry reinforced cost by 25% and reinforced time by 50. So that's very useful to have with your infantry. Then you got munitions surplus. Upgrade costs for your scouts, engineers, riflemen, and bazooka teams are all reduced by 50%. So these are all going to save you quite a lot. So very handy all to have there. So next up we have the Air Support Centre, where you're going to have the Advanced Air Reconnaissance. So you can get planes providing line of sight when they fly over the map where you select. So great for revealing the enemy territory and what's going on in it. Then you've got Air Supply. So that'll reduce the cost of your ability to acquire planes by 50%. Sounds really handy. Then you've got Air Supremacy. All Air Supremacy planes abilities recharge 50% faster, which is nice.
Once you get to know me.
And then you've got double
Especially if you
sortie.
can spin a good
Strafing
yarn.
and bombing runs now attack the target with 2 planes instead of 1. That's very handy indeed. So over here, then you can start selecting your abilities. So those buffs on we just looked at affect these. You've got high altitude recon planes, which will fly over, revealing territory for you. You can bring in a P-47 strafing run to strafe the heck out of infantry and suppressing them and killing them off for you in target area. And then you've also got your B-25 bomber plane, which will bring in massive bombshells and devastate everything that hits. It's against all targets. Very useful as well. So there you have it. The Air Support Centre. Very useful for supporting your army in its mission to take over the universe. Okay, next up from your headquarters, you can build yourself a medical station. Over here on the left is your medical station. Here you're going to heal all your infantry when they come in, so very useful. When you return people to the base, they'll get healed up for you. Also, they've got this reintegration. Reinforces units in a squad and grants them veterancy, which sounds very nice. If it'll work. And then a lot of heal people. 2 very useful abilities to have right there. So you're definitely going to want this in your army, because people are going to get hurt. So make sure you keep them healed up. When you're retreating back to base, heal them up, send them back out into the fight. Okay, now we're going to be looking at the Battlegroups. This doesn't seem to be fully working yet, but you do get abilities to use in your Battlegroups. So you have an M29 Weasel, it's like the Jeep. But this one can transport infantry and capture territory and deploy weapons straight up. So you can bring this straight onto the field and you are off and a go. So here he is. Get him to stop. It looks like a Bren carrier. A Company Heroes one, which is cool. But you can upgrade it with a 30 cal machine gun. Then you've got your deployer machine gun for you to pick up and use, and the mortar as well. Veterancy single layer. Munitions and fuel captured by the Weasel produce +3 more resources, making this very useful. And then medical supplies. It heals infantry when out of combat station. Both of them are very good. You might want even more than one of these.
You want the very best?
They will be very
No
strong
further than Texas.
against gunfire and such, but those 2 veterancy abilities are great. So next up is the white phosphorus rounds. We can just barrage something. Let's do it over here. You can crack on with the barrage right here. See what happens when it hits. The enemy's starting to build tank destroyers now. Been on that long, right? Let's watch these get exploded. And it comes. Ooh, yes. Very nice indeed. Okay, then you can bring on a Sherman, which will be very nice. This is your whiz-bang Sherman. We'll bring that on now. Here it comes.
Time to get to work, crew.
And your Sherman can do a rocket barrage and really blast away crazy. Let's do it now. I'll just do it over here. Not too far then. Here come the rockets. You can see them flying out, causing a lot of damage. Very useful taking out blobs of infantry. Great one there. So what does it do for its veterancy? Precise barrage, 180 million rockets in a line. That sounds good. And then your jettison launcher, so you can get rid of your whiz-bang and have it as a normal Sherman. So if you're in trouble, you need armor right now, kick it straight off and you're on again. Right. Then you can reveal the target area with flares as your other ability. Radiant flares. Reveals the area for 30 seconds. It's already going to be done, so that's fine. That's cool. Then you can mark a target vehicle. We're not going to be able to do that because there isn't one right now, but that'll be good so you can see where it is. Calls in place a lotter over the enemy vehicle, increasing accuracy against that target. You'll be able to see it, so that'll be useful in picking it off. Then you can also bring in some commandos, SSF. Commandos. Let's bring them in.
Order, sir.
Here come the commandos. They can make smoke, eat some smoke for covering. Now, these guys have got a unique ability where they can switch between what they've got, the bars or whatever they're using, to bazookas. So if they have to fight a little bit of armor, they can switch to a bazooka. Very nice. And then you can switch back to the anti-infantry weapon guns as well. So that's amazing. Very useful. So they go with the light machine guns, the M194s, or the bazookas. So the multi-purpose, those guys are very useful. And their veterancy abilities is throw a knife, which is a stealth kill. Silence, one hit kill. Sneak up on them. Yeah! Take them out. So it might be decent to use against the sniper. To take them out if you can get close enough and if you can pull it off. Could be pretty useful. Then you've also got the time demo charge. You'll place a high explosive demo charge maybe on the victory point, last second, stick it on there, and if it's like company hours 1 or 2, then you can click it when they come in to actually do the charge. So both very useful abilities. And that's your tactical abilities down the right hand side of the screen here. So this has been a look at the American Army in the new Company of Heroes 3 pre-alpha. So I hope you found it useful, helpful. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. This is Flux, out.